So when you say that when there is sweetness, the ego is mixed with it, the guy says, no, really, it is different. When it doesn't happen according to your wishes, then you get upset, and when it happens according to your wishes and your illusory attachment, then you feel good. When your pride gets satisfied, then you feel good. When the pride does not get fed, you feel bad. Just as there are mistakes of doership, there are also mistakes of knowing too. When you get to know, then there is a sense of sweetness, and recognize that that sense of sweetness and the experience of that sweetness is also an error, because you are in the wrong territory, you are in the wrong realm. You are supposed to know exactly what is happening. As if the soup is boiling, then you do something to cut down the boiling by putting some water in it. You should know that it is the water that prevented the boiling over of the soup, and not that you did it. If you see a Mahatma who is a very good worker for Dada do something wrong, and therefore you start seeing faults with him, that is an error, is it not? You should see the circumstances of the man, and maybe his circumstances and events change, and therefore ignorance results cause difficulties, and Gnan results cause bliss. So do you think do I have to just separate by conversing with Sirish that I am pure soul? And I am a pure soul. Just because you have applied this Gnan, you feel good. You should not taste the sweet juice of doership. Deepakbhai says it might appear to be more like a commentary. Commentary means a description. But it is more important to converse rather than to just continue doing a sports commentary or just a description. You should say, be careful, Sirish, you don't want to screw up here, because elsewhere you have screwed up, but this thing that is happening is due to the grace of Dada. Before there was nothing. 5-10 years ago there was nothing for you, and now all of this is because of Dada, is it not? So make sure that you don't start flying high. Just conversation is more important rather than commentary with Sirish. Commentary will work, but something is better than nothing. But it is more important to converse rather than to continue to. He says this usually a commentary only. He whatever he wants to do, he will keep on doing according to his will and his. And you are saying, I'm just going to continue to see. He will pack all kinds of food in his body, and you say, I'm just seeing and knowing only that. No, that isn't. But when you converse with him, he has to respond to you. There is another question. Because obstructions are of infinite types, against them all, I am the one with infinite energy. What are these obstructions? There are these gross obstructions when you can't go to satsang. When you want to go to satsang, you are prevented from satsang. Those are gross obstructions, overt obstructions. I want something, I can't get it. I want to have this, I can't get this. But the real obstructions in life, on the path of liberation, are the kashais. When you get deluded, when pride arises, when Sirish called 6 people and then a good work accomplished, therefore then it will happen, the pride will arise. See, I did it. That is the obstruction. And then you have to recognize that is what makes you become absorbed. Tanmayakar, TNMK, body, mind, form. But then you have to talk to him and say, so you see, the bitter and the pleasant are just circumstances and situations, have got nothing to do with the S capital self, do they? Kashais are the ones that cause the difficulties. It is your insistence, and you, because of your insistence, the files close at home will get upset with you, and therefore then she will continue to cause difficulties, and that perpetuates the obstructions. It is because of your illusory attachment, that is why that you had the obstruction. But if you did not have the illusory, because you wanted to enjoy worldly life, that is why you are having all these obstructions. So in other words, because I wanted to try to get the pleasures of life, that is why I ended up with all these difficulties. But now, because even though you do not like them, you get all kinds of obstructions, and therefore you have to say that against all obstructions that arise on the path of liberation, in front of them I am the one with infinite energies. So in other words, if you're traveling on a road, you want to reach your destination, no matter how bad the storms, no matter what kind of road conditions, you'll take diversions, but sooner or later you'll reach your destination. But at the gross level, all of these tendencies to enjoy the pleasures of life, are they the obstructions? No. They are the ones that lead to the obstructions, says Deepakbhai. They themselves are not the obstructions. Why do you get obstructed? Why do you get physical, worldly people obstructions? When you want to go to do samayik, you can't do samayik. Why are you getting obstructions? The main cause is kashais within. Because of kashais are the obstructions. But when you do settle the file with equanimity, then you are not wiping off the causes, but from the results you can see that this is the cause, this is the kind of causes, and therefore you want to, by in samayik, by looking at the results, you are able to kind of settle with equanimity the results. Because of the illusory attachment, the kashais that happened, those kashais bring the obstructions in this life, and this, by looking at them as they are, we become free from them. But these are all circumstances and events. They cannot create impediments. Say we were in a car and we were driving, it was raining very heavily, another car went very fast next to me, and the water from that car splashed all of us, but the wipers were running. Inside the car, the driver is safe. The driver wasn't emotional. The driver did not get emotional just because, the wipers moving will move away all the dirty water. And the boss in the back seat also, he is happy and he is remaining in the S capital self. And if says you are the pure soul, the bhavo, the middleman is the one who does kach and bickering. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? And the Mangar Das is just going through these things. Deepakbhai, this energy is this. Originally, the self is actually mainly the knower and the seer. And when the self attains the Siddhagati, final essence, are these energies there? By finishing this, the one who is asking for the energies will not reach there. Having finished all the energies, he will reach there. By having finished means, is it there in the Siddhagati? Yes, absolutely. Yes, it's because now now a man who is sick, he gets better, but it is because of his energies it became healthy. And so in the Siddhagati, he has got the total vision, the energy to enlighten and to see and to know the entire universe, which gives him these energies. With wrong beliefs, the energies were dissipating, and with the right belief, the energies start conserving. And with Dada's Gnan now we are recollecting the energies of the self, and as we start increasing the energies of the self, when we get the total energies of the self, then we will get liberated absolutely in the Siddhagati. We have many. Yes, So over there is no other energies. He has, in the Siddha Gati, the Siddha Bhagwan has got infinite energy, so he doesn't need to use any of his energies, or that space. The Siddha Lord does not occupy any space, and therefore he does not. The infinite energies, infinite energies, infinite energy means to remain in the absolute seer state and not to become absorbed in the relative. If somebody insults you, there is suffering, and then there is the penance needed not to become absorbed. When somebody is respecting Sirish, then you will feel good, and then you, supposing. And so even if they keep you like a lord of the world and treat you like an emperor of the world, if you continue to remain in the North Saver state that it is not me that is being respected and cherished, then you will remain in your original state of the self, and there is no kashais of either rag or dvesh, of respect or disrespect, will touch you at all, and that is where the ultimate goal is for us. So there are all kinds of obstructions. There are gross obstructions to subtlest obstructions. Gross obstructions, physical and mental obstruction. Next question. I am is the asitva, and then I am, this is the darshan moh, that is the vibhav moh. I am Chandu, that is the ego. Is that the Vishesh Bhav? As soon as you say I am this, that means I am ego. Vibhav and Vishesh Bhav is the same, just Sirish by clearing some of the semantics here with reference to, they are all Vyatirik. He is clearing some of the terminology. I am this, I am, then who am I? Then I am Chandu Bhai, that is Vibhav. That is the darshan moh, that is the illusory attachment, then that is the wrong belief. Wrong belief will lead to wrong knowledge, and that is called the veil over the knowledge of the self, Gnanavaraniya, and then that will lead to rag and dvesh. Then this is my wife, my children, etc. So it starts with I am Chandu, that is pride. I am Dr. Chandu is pride, and then that is pride. I am the owner, that means Abhiman. I am the owner of this hospital, that's Abhiman, or extra pride. So these were all just residual. Next one, Yogita or Sangeeta. Didn't quite catch her name. It's a lady now asking a question. To the right side of Deepakbhai, to our left here. A Satsang of August 24th, 2011. It says the body used to be an enemy for infinite lifetimes, but having met the Gnani, the body becomes a friend. Now the car has brought you to the airport now, but from beyond the airport you have to proceed. But you see, ultimately, until you reach the airport, you have to continue to repair the car and keep it going. For infinite previous lifetimes, you have been in moh, illusory attachment, pride, rag, dvesh, etc. And ultimately, you have to face the problems of the files until the end. And so moh, maya, kashais were all the problems for the infinite lifetimes. And if the body is not in good shape, can you come to satsang, etc. So everybody is gone and I am left, they will say. And so they will say, I am left. So we do not have to take too much super care of this body, but we have to take relatively good care of the body, and we have to keep it as a good friend, and we have to be grateful to this body like a good neighbor. And he says, so they say, oh, they have said, I have to take care of Radhika, so I have to put lipstick, etc. on Radhika. No, not like that. If it wants to eat 4 mathias, very crisp wafers, so it's just the Deepakbhai says, if yes, if you let her have the 4 mathias, the spicy wafers, but then make an adjustment with the other food and eat less of the other food. In other words, cut down on the other food. So balance it out. So So the last two bites let go. The most difficult is to let go of the last two bites of food. Daksha, Jamnagar. This gives you an idea of the number of people who are there for the Parayan of 2011. It's a totally filled hall despite the very hot and humid weather. I had my file too had insulted. I have done a lot of pratikraman. I used to throw he used to throw the food plate. And now he has come, and we have settled our accounts. So now I keep on saying in Samayik that I used to really have a lot of clashes with file 2, or I continue to do pratikraman. But to find out now beyond, was it what it was somebody. Find out why did you do this thing? What was it that made you do this sort of negative behavior and actions, activities towards the other person? Was it greed? That is pride? What did you hear me? Did you listen to me? Because he says, I wanted to do it my way. I wanted to have it my way. Why don't you now? You see, he was just a nimit, but it is your nimits. Your kashais are the nimits. There is still some residual wrong beliefs. If you should see him as the pure soul only and nothing else, if you can see him as the pure soul, and that Daksha is separate from me, I'm pure soul, separate the four ways and then apply the Gnan, and then dissolve all the results that arose in front of you with this knowledge. Why do you think you got suffering? Yeah. Okay, so why? Because he will bind accounts with me. Why? He will bind an account with me in the next life. That is the suffering. That is. Why should he suffer about the next life? Instead, why don't you focus on dissolving the effects of the kashais in this life that unfolded in front of you through your Gnan of who you are, who is the relative self of your own relative self as well as the other person's relative self. Whenever you feed food, when you see food, when Daksha wants to have, I want to eat, then you have to recognize that it is the illusory attachment that has increased. Then that means that gives you the awareness, the opportunity to be aware of who you really are. Anytime any kind of a tendency arises within you, you will see where you want to go. And then when you do it this way, then you will find that it goes to, you have to go to the level of the experience of the self, apply the 5 agnas, apply the vision of the flawless one. But if you are applying, but if your suffering continues, therefore there is a little bit of a maladjustment and misadjustment. And if you cannot adjust, then you can just, if you cannot adjust, then just say, my dear Lord, I don't understand, please forgive me. For any better, whether it is pride or money issues or not wanting to let go, wanting to have it my way, all of these faults I ask for your forgiveness. But as long as any link of willfulness or pride or ego or greed is in action, then the suffering will continue. So employ the vision of the flawless one and employ the vision of how to see the person as flawless. Deepakbhai, I do the pratikraman, but when I do the samayik, it starts saying it. I see that there is still something left. Then find out the reasons for kashai, says Deepakbhai. But then I found out that it is always that I want to have it my way and I am very willful. And I feel like I was really becoming insistent just because of 300 rupees, and therefore then you should recognize that it was your illusory attachment and greed for money. That is the underlying thing, and therefore you need to divide it. So you have to talk to Radhika in this way. So forgive that person. So and when I started doing pratikraman, he came to my home and he asked for forgiveness. So then now you need to kind of wipe off the residual junk from within you and move forward. There is much more to be done. If one glass breaks in your china cabinet, if you have bicker and have a clash with him for 3 days, is that going to help you or hurt you? The best thing is to pick up the pieces and throw it in garbage and be done with it. Next one, Trivedi. Next question. Where is he? This is the Soneri Savar, the golden morning of August 24th of 2011, one day before the Parayan. The live relay in English, the Gujarati is on Satsang at dadabhagwan.org, satsang.dadabhagwan.org. This is specifically for those who do not understand Gujarati. What would you like to ask? Please speak. Real light versus artificial light. Light rays contains 55%. That contains so many percentage of heat and so much percentage illumination. And Dada Shri has given us the description of the self. In this light of the self, there is 100% illumination in the light of self, and there is no heat. So will you please give me the difference, because physical light has got heat plus illumination. In the light of the sun there is no heat. Now it's only light only. But when it hits the surface of the sun, or when it comes through the atmosphere, and in the light rays as it passes through the atmosphere, that is when it comes through the contacts with the subatomic particles, then the heat arises. Therefore, it is really the light of the sun is only illumination only, but when it comes in contact with matter, and so therefore, and here because light here is the reverse process. And the light of the self is such that when it comes in contact with subatomic particles, then it picks up the electrical body gets generated at a very subtle level. But it is not that. But because it comes into contact with matter, then a new energy arises, and that is the new energy of the heat. Whereas, but independently, the original light, that the sunlight is coming through. When electricity goes through tungsten wire, it raises electricity, heat and electricity, and so then it turns red, and then it turns white in color, and so that light arises. And so light comes through electricity, whereas the light of the self, because of the proximity of it, of the light of the self, the non-self complex get energized, and then the heat arises within the body complex, or the heat energy arises. And so when the sun rays touch the ocean, there is steam arises, and then clouds form, and then on the top of the Himalayas there is snow. But you see, they are closest to the sun. However, nothing melts there, whereas the water doesn't melt on the peaks of the Himalayas. But as the thinner the atmosphere, the lesser the heat intensity. Whereas at the ocean level, there is easy forming of the clouds and the water. If there is on the 15% thing, there is so much. So I want to say the sun has got 15%. You cannot compare the sunlight with the light of the self as capital. It illuminates the entire universe. Yes, 15% illumination that you have within you, which is the energy of the awakened self after the Gnanvidhi, it's a very great amount of illumination, because you can start seeing the mistakes of the small SCLF within you, and And then as you remain in the agnas of the Gnani Purush, you will become completely free from any veils that will obstruct this light, to the point where you will have the complete L capital light of the Self. And Dada Shri has talked about 500 to 1000 page sentences and pages worth of satsang on a single question. So there is that kind of, that is on the basis of the Gnan Prakash, or the light of the Self. Deepika on page 120 on one book that is being read now, page 120. Until you attain the path of liberation, you need somebody who has got merit karma. That is Dada Shri replies that people enter into the path of the good and the auspicious because they are searching for somebody, but we do not need. For the one who is on the path of liberation, the entire life of this. So I think he is reading a book. This is the punya. This is the punya of the merit karma of the one who is going to the merit karma of the one who is on the path of liberation is such that it doesn't even matter whether the sun has arisen or not. Deepakbhai says that is for the next life. You will have all kinds of, in other words, everything that you can possibly desire will be there for you in the next life, because you will become absolutely without any desires. That is called the merit karma. In the book of Pap and Punya, this is on merit and demerit. There is a little book which is not available yet. So in the general talk about merit and demerit karma, Deepak Dada is talking about the binding of karma versus not binding of karma, and then the ultimate kind of karma. If you have been waiting in a line for rationing, in India there is rationing of certain food materials, means the celestial beings, the punya merit karma of the celestial beings, such that the moment they think about something, it comes in front of you. Whereas when we want